All right, everybody, thanks for joining today. Today we're going to talk about how to build your own time card calculator. We're going to be doing this with no code. We're going to be doing it with AI tools. I'm going to walk through the entire process and how you can build one of your own. Now, you might be wondering, who the heck even needs a time card calculator these days? And to tell you the truth, I'm not even exactly sure who either. I haven't punched in one of those time card clocks for quite some time. But believe it or not, there are actually still people that are looking up and looking for this type of a tool online. We'll talk about that in a second here. But this tool, what we're going to build, is going to be similar to this. This is the one that I've already put together. Again, I don't code or anything like that. But basically, it is going to allow an employee to track their hours and estimate how much money that they've made in a week, in a month. So, you can enter your name, enter in how, your start time, your end time. There's break time in here too that doesn't get counted. You can enter in your, how much you make per hour. There's different overtime options here. You can set this up any way that you want. And then basically the goal is to be able to get a nice looking just kind of time card sheet like this that tracks your hours, and then you can download it in a PDF or a TXT file, and then add in all sorts of different summary findings that you want to find. So let's get into it. Now, why would you want to build these right now? I'm glad you asked. So let's take a look at this website first of all. So this is timecardcalculator.net, right? So very simple website, does basically the same thing that I showed you. It's just a little bit smaller. Allows people to record how long they worked. For some reason, the image isn't showing up here. But basically, this little site gets 72,000 visitors per month. That is absolutely insane. If I had to guess, this website, just off display ads, could make $2 or $3 grand a month. It actually links to a whole bunch of different websites, and I won't get into that right now, but another way that you could do this too, we've got this Redcart website. They've got something very similar set up, and they use it for lead gen, and basically they sell software that is a virtual time clock. So, you could use this for lead gen, you could build a display advertising business out of it, you could build some larger software with it, who knows. So without further ado, let's say you want to build this thing. You're here on the video. Let's go ahead and build it. Step one. The first thing I always do when I'm building out these things is just open up a Google Doc and then start to document what it is that you want out of this tool. It can be a Google Doc. It can be a Word doc. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. So here is the exact prompt that I used. You can take a look at the description in this video below. I'm going to include the full prompt that I used to start working with this. And what I start out with, I've got a 3-step process. The first one that I use I call the goal prompt, which basically just summarizes what I want to get out of this. So I said, I want to create a time card calculator that helps users track their work hours and calculate pay. The tool should allow users to input start and end times for each workday, account for breaks, lunch periods, calculate hours, overtimes, et cetera, et cetera. I kind of list it out. And you can see this is, I'm not writing one sentence here. I want to build a time card calculator. I'm really breaking down exactly what I want to get out of this at a high level. After I write out the initial goal prompt, I call it, I'm moving to part 2. This is where I outline the input fields, the specific inputs that I want people to be able to put into the time card. So if we go back and look here, you can see we've got an employee name field. We've got, this entry field where you have the days, the start time, the end time. You've got this calculate button. You've got the pay per hour. Each one of these different inputs that people are going to enter, I have listed out here. So I've got the time entry fields, the day labels, the name. I've really gone into detail and listed out specifically every little thing that I want to have. And I've also added in too, for some of these too, like I'll specify I want a radio button, right, for some of these, or you want maybe like an entry field. So basically, the more that you can do to make it very step-by-step for AI so that they know exactly what you want, that's going to make it make AI produce the type of tool that you've got envisioned in your head. A lot of people, when they start out with AI, especially when they don't have any experience building before, they just want to be able to type in a couple sentences and get exactly what they want. That's not going to happen. You got to be very specific with what you want. You got to know what you've got to have some vision in your mind of what you want to ask for. So these are the input fields that I put in. And then finally, part 3, what do I want? What are the outputs that I want to get out of it? So, I said I want users to be able to download the results in a PDF file or a TXT file. I want a weekly summary. I want, time analysis. I want a monthly summary. And you can see each one of these things when I click the calculate button. On the results section, I've got all of these listed out now. Again, so you might want to build a time card that has some different functionality. Maybe you want people to be able to save their results, save their name, account for holiday pay. There's all sorts of different stuff that you could do, but make sure to list it out in your initial prompt. So I'm going to put a link to this below. This is my full prompt. And once you've got, your goal prompt, your input and your output fields all put together, you're going to take this and you've basically got a plan for your build. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually move straight into the AI tools. Now I'm going to actually take that prompt that I took and I'm going to plug it into here, and we're going to just wait for it to, kind of see what Bolt gives us on the first attempt with this. But while we're, Bolt is working and it's going to, kind of create all the files based on what I said, let's go back here. You don't need to use Bolt. This is one of the tools that I use a ton. I think it's really, really good. There's Lovable, which is, from what I understand, super similar to Bolt. There's Claude, which I am really loving right now. And of course, ChatGPT, Grok, which is an X product. You can use all of these. All of these are going to be able to make this timesheet for you. The reason that I like specifically a Bolt, a Lovable, or a Claude for something like this is that they are going to be able to, you see it's still building here, but they're going to be able to create a preview for you, essentially, that you can take a look at, use, and be able to test out and see what it looks like before it's actually built. If you're trying to build this in, for example, Grok or ChatGPT right now, you're just going to get the code. So you're going to have you're going to need a little bit of technical knowledge to be able to implement and see it. But yeah, that's why I'd say invest in one of these. You'll learn after a little while of building AI tools that some tools are going to be better than others at different things. So Claude right now I think is really good at writing. I think it's really good at building calculators and tools and stuff like this. Right now, whereas, Grok, for example, which is on X, they're really good at finding information about social media data and what people are looking at. So it just kind of depends what you need. But for these, I would definitely invest in one of these 3, and most of them have cheap plans. I think Claude, you can start at $20 a month. So let's go and take a look at how our build is going. Okay, this is awesome. So you can see, based on this prompt that I gave to Bolt, this is a pretty good time card calculator. We've got the entries here, and just think about this. We took some time to make a really good prompt, exactly what we wanted, and then we prompted in one shot and we get something that looks really, really good like this. I'm actually pretty impressed with how this turned out with a single prompt. We've got our little PDF file downloads here. We've got a really nice user-friendly way to be able to outline this information. Yeah, this looks really awesome, actually. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is fix, revise, and improve. And this is actually going to be the step that takes you the longest. I'm sure that you've seen on social media, there's these people that kind of do what I did. They put in one prompt and they're like, whoa, look at what I did. And it's all 100% perfect. And it's in the exact color scheme that I wanted. And da da da. And like all this stuff is super amazing. But what we've got to do is verify that everything is actually working before we release the tool. So I, for example, would start just trying out the tool and making sure that these calculations kind of add up and make sense, especially when we change some of the settings. So I'm going to say that I have worked longer hours. Let's say I'm really grinding it out. I am working 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. all week long. I don't know how I'm able to do this, but that should give us a lot of overtime hours. So let's take a look and see if these numbers match up after I add it. Okay, so this is great. We've confirmed that, we hit the calculate button. The numbers updated. They look, pretty accurate to me. So here we go. So this is where really all the time is going to go into, right? So like AI at this point is going to get you 80% of the way that you want it to go probably towards your tool. Looks good, nice setup. But now it's the process of kind of finding out what is wrong with the tool, working out the bugs, and then finally releasing the tool. So I can see right now, just from testing this out, the hours updated, great. But what didn't update is the overtime, right? I've been working 9 to 10 p.m. That's more than 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. Are you kidding me? Let's see. It says that my regular hours are only 37 hours still. Like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. So the first step is, the first issue that I identified was like, hey, this is not adding up correctly, especially with the overtime hours. So I'm just going to prompt bolt this and say, the calculations are not adding up on this tool. I entered 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. in the input entries, but I still only see 37.30 hours showing in the time card results. Can you help me fix? So you're going to enter in a prompt like this. Wait for the results. You'll see it says, I'll help you fix the calculations by implementing proper time and math into the utils.ts file. This will correctly handle the time and entries, and you can see it's working out, solving that problem. And hopefully this gets solved. So let's try to do the exact same thing again. It says it's been fixed. Let's test it out. Boom. Okay, this is great. So this is exactly what we hoped had happened. So now you can see this time, we've got our overtime hours being listed here. We've got overtime pay being listed. We've got the 4-week projections here, the total pay with the total overtime over a 4-week time period. So this is fantastic. This is exactly what I was looking for in this. Now you can see too, in addition to this, let's say that you wanted to like update the color scheme or do something like that. That's going to take a lot more time too, right? So like, let's say you wanted red buttons here and maybe you wanted a green calculate button, things of that nature. You would need to go through and continue to prompt AI to be able to kind of fix this. Also too, I can tell from, I know from experience on my own website, backofnapkin.co, where I put out all of these different calculators. On mobile, this might not look good. So one of the nice things about Bolt 2 is that you can just click this little tab here and you can go to the mobile view. So I'm looking on an iPhone 16. What would this look like? And you can see like, okay, it looks pretty good, but this would probably be a little bit hard for users to use. So a couple things specifically that I would need to do is, you want to make sure it looks good on desktop. You want to make sure it's good on mobile. So one of the things I'd probably need to do is start prompting this next to be able to make the form fit into an iPhone better, right? Because guaranteed at least half of your visitors are going to be on mobile right now. So it's got to look really, really good on mobile in addition to desktop and laptop. So really, within a couple minutes here though, pretty incredible, what you can do with, some of these AI tools to make a time card calculator. I think you could use the exact same prompt that I shared, get something really, really good. You could, again, adapt it, make it a little bit better, make some different color schemes, add some different reports to make your tool really unique and more valuable. But I think you've got the base here to really get started with AI and have a good prompt to get started. Again, if you check out the video description below, I will share the AI tools I use to build this, my full prompt, and also you can find a link to my website, backofnapkin.co/buildfast. You can get a list of all the different AI tools that I use. I'm always sharing different builds that I do there, and I would love to have you on the newsletter. So with that being said, I hope you liked today's build. I'll be back with more, and we'll see you in the next one.